What's up, guys? It's Yank here with 47 North Gaming, and happy Memorial Day. I've got, yeah, I know, it's a Peterbilt. No, I ended up getting this truck because it's got this really cool paint job on it. I couldn't quite find what I was looking for in the Kenworths. I know the Kenworth T680 has the excessive American flag design, but the reason I didn't get that is because Matt, who runs Trucking with Dave with us sometimes, has that paint job already, and the W900 apparently doesn't have an American flag scheme, so I decided to go with the Peterbilt, and this looks pretty darn cool. I'll probably hang on to this truck just for, patriotic runs that we do sometimes, but otherwise probably won't see me in this truck too much. I like my Kenworths. But so I'll hop in here. Hopefully we can find something that'll run us a good distance just for this Memorial Day, call it a Memorial Day special. Route length, I suppose I could go to the very end and just see what we got. Red, white, and blue trailers. That almost seems like it was perfectly made for this. Yeah, we'll do beverages. It's fine. We're gonna be this large truck with a pup trailer, but oh well. But it is red, white, and blue, so let's do it. Let's do it. Alright, so it's time to get rolling. We'll get some lights on there. Yeah, it's nothing I have against Peterbilt. I just really like Kenworth, so this truck will stay in the fleet, but I probably just won't run it quite as much as my Kenworths. Oop. The big wide turn, apparently. Alright, we are in Phoenix currently. I just bought a garage there here just about a day or so ago while I was messing around on here. Also have a few more trucks in the fleet. I added a couple of drivers, so there's that too. It's not very active online at the moment. I think it's just because it's earlier in the day when I'm recording this, but hopefully we'll catch some traffic while we're out and about. I also changed up my control scheme so I could better simulate brakes. So it's taking a little bit of getting used to here. Alright, and we are ready to roll. Alright, I have to look, see how silly this looks. The other day I saw a that doesn't look awful actually. Anyway, the other day I saw a full size sleeper, like the big chassis, W900 hauling one of these, and it was just the most hilarious looking thing in the world. Oh, I guess I forgot to put my flashers on while I was in the yard. Since I don't feel like making all those turns, I'm just going to come down here. And then make our turn here. But yeah, anyway, I wanted to make a special video for Memorial Day, just to honor all those that have served and have passed, and then honor all those that are currently serving and those that have served as well. So I just wanted to do a trucking run here with some patriotic paint schemes. So that's what spurred this video on. But yeah, I'll get on the highway here and we can do a little bit of chatting. Looks like we're going to be getting on a freeway I haven't been on since the map resize. It is cool. Alright, so we get up onto the highway here. I think this is the US 10 if I am not mistaken. Or Interstate 10, I guess. And get up to speed towards California. I think this trailer's pretty light, yeah, only 25,000 pounds. Nice and easy. But yeah, anyway, just wanted to make a video honoring those that have served and that are currently serving, and those who passed in the line of service, to keep this country free and allow us to do what we like to do. For me, these days always are nice, or meaningful, I guess you could say, because my grandfather served in the Marines during the Korean War, so it was. I mean, he didn't pass on, but you know, his service and service of many others is highly thanked across the country today. So thank you to everybody that has served and protected the freedom that we have. Now, I don't want to get political, so I'm not going to talk about my stance on the politics in this video, but you know, today's not the day for that. So I'll just leave it at that. So with that, I guess I'll talk about the game a little bit, or the upcoming stuff. There is New Mexico is coming out. That's a DLC map. I don't know if it's going to be one of those things you have to pay for, though. Kind of hoping with how long we've had to wait that it just comes to us for free, but I guess we'll see. But yeah, so that will be coming out here soon. The heavy hauling pack is coming out soon as well, and I'm excited for that. Probably Dave and I will be jumping in on that. Now that is a paid DLC, so you will have to fork out some money for it. There hasn't been an announcement on the price, but usually those DLCs are pretty reasonable from SCS, and it's going to add a lot of content to this game, which has honestly been lacking in content as of recent, since I've seen most of the stuff up to this point. So compared with New Mexico, that should be pretty good to have. And let's see, there's one other thing. Oh, thinking of pup trailers, you know, kind of like what I've got on the back here. This is, for those that don't know, this is a pup. It's just basically a short trailer, small trailer. They're working on tandems, or tandem pups. So there'll be, you can hook up to 2 of them, and I feel like that's going to be pretty fun, just from the disaster that that'll cause, trying to back those up. But I think that'd be pretty cool to have those double trailers. So looking forward to that. That is supposed to come out in a free update early this summer, actually. So that'll be exciting. So more content is a plus. I just hope that they start turning out states faster. I mean, here's the dilemma. I like their map quality. I like how there's a lot of detail in these maps in comparison to some of the ones out in Europe. I mean, not to knock the European maps, those are still detailed and they have their own thing, but American Trucking Simulator, they brought their detailing to a different level, which was really good. But it's taking them longer to develop the content or the maps, which I suppose is not a bad thing, but it does it does create some lacking content at times. So I'm hoping they can start picking up the pace on the maps just a little bit. Because let's see, if they're moving, I mean, I guess the next logical map I feel like would be maybe Utah or Oregon, just because Texas is going to take them a while, and that's, you know, if they're doing New Mexico now, the next logical step west or east is Texas, but Texas is kind of big. And I mean, not to say I wouldn't like to see Texas. I'd love to see Texas. I used to live there, actually. But I think the realistic sense of getting Texas is not probably, you know, at least quickly anyways, probably not realistic until they expand their team further. So I think they need to expand their team in order for them to get map content out to us. Oh, guess we're probably in California now, huh? So slow down to 55. One of the things I do want them to fix, and you can see it coming up here, is how the GPS will sometimes try to route you through exit ramps. And I think that's just because it's designed to try to find the shortest route. But that's not necessarily the most efficient. Actually, that's something I forgot to do, was actually do a quick trip plan, make sure that there isn't anything like that on the route that I won't be able to see until it's too late. So I think I'll pull off here after this ramp. Alright, I'm going to pull the map up. Truck is stopped. Alright, so goes. See, this is where it would make more sense to do that. So I stay on the freeway. noticed it kind of does this more now that there's more detail in the map, just because there's more, you know, squiggles, I guess you could say. I think all up in here is fine. And yeah, alright, so it's basically a freeway run all the way there, which is good. So we'll do that. Take the flashes off. Actually, we'll leave the flashes on, take the parking brake off, and get back up to speed. But yeah, anyway, I was talking about the maps. So yeah, I think the next after New Mexico, I think the next logical step for them, considering their staffing size at the moment, is probably Utah or Oregon. Just because those states are smaller, and it would be easier for them to turn one out before the end of the year. But at the pace that they're going, it's going to take forever for them to get the United States mapped. So they really need to, pick up the pace a little bit. I mean, I guess that's my thoughts on it. If they want to keep people playing this game and they want people to continue, buying into it, I think they need to increase the playability of it in terms of just having more options. So that would be, more maps for sure. More destinations would be nice. Especially as we continue to push east, it'd be nice to do a coast-to-coast run at some point. I know there's people that have done maps for that, so I might have to explore those in a mod series at some point. But they're never to the same quality, I guess I would say, as an SCS map. Anyway, now I think another thing they need to work on is trucks. There are currently 4 trucks available. It released with 2, so they've added 2, but they need to add another manufacturer, I think, or more models. For example, like Freightliner. Freightliner is huge in the U.S. When it comes to trucks that are on the road, especially pulling these dry van trailers and reefer trailers. There's a lot of Freightliners on the road. There's internationals that you can get going. Volvo, those kind of brands. Mack is such a huge American brand of truck. I feel like it's almost a crying shame that Mack isn't in the game at all. And I think what's really strange is that Volvo isn't in the game, considering they have a license from Volvo for Euro Truck 2. So why can't they work something out for American Trucking Sim? I don't know. It'd be nice to get more trucks, so we have more choices to drive, and that just make things a little bit more interesting in regards to offerings and the trucks that we can choose from, and the different combinations we can do as far as when we want to go driving. If we can get more trucks and at least another truck manufacturer, but a couple more would be nice, especially for these American brands. Kind of like how Euro Truck has, I think, something like 5 or 6 brands that you can pick from. That'd be nice, because then you get different models of truck, because each brand has 1 or 2 models that you can bring in. So that's just I guess my 10 cents, not even 2 cents, 10 cents on the matter of the truck situation here. So yeah, I haven't done a run through California actually in a while. It definitely predates the map expansion, so this is definitely going to be a longer run. But also, it's what I like about the map expansion. I think the best thing about the map expansion, some people were complaining about, oh, you know, they distracted them from doing different states and whatever. And yeah, map expansion was needed because it added a lot of detail, or the chance for detail in the road network, because now you get really nice complex interchanges and you get nice scenery along the way, you know, some more rolling hills and mountainous passes that weren't really there before, so that's I think a big plus with the map change. Because we'll go I'll try to remember to bring it up, but there's a spot that we're gonna have to big mountain climb that wasn't there before, and they've added, you know, runaway truck ramps, and they've added a dedicated truck lane and all this good stuff for you know, making it more realistic, so that's pretty cool. Now hopefully we'll end up seeing some other traffic on the road. I didn't plan this recording out very well as far as trying to get traffic on the road, but I did want to get this video produced in time to release to you guys for Memorial Day afternoon, as I like to release videos in the afternoon. Now those of you on the East Coast have probably noticed my video release time has moved back an hour. That is in part due to me moving into the Central Time Zone recently, which is that move that I precursored here about 2-3 weeks ago. That's the reason why the video count dropped off for a little bit. But yeah, I'm now in the Central Time Zone, working a new job, oddly in trucking. So I'm, you know, learning a lot about the trucking world, and I'm hoping to be able to apply some of that to our Trucking with Dave videos and just some of my general, you know, American trucking videos. You know, the couple that I do, like this one that's not with Dave and not with Matt, and so I guess that's a stay tuned type of thing as, you know, time progresses. Clouds are rolling, and I wonder, you know, that's the one thing, is I haven't really gotten to experience a whole lot of rain in the American Trucking Sim. Part of that is that it defaults to the rain setting pretty low, just because these states that we're in don't get a lot of rain. But it's definitely looking a lot cloudier than I've seen in games before, or runs before, so maybe we'll get a little bit of rain on this run, who knows. So we're still moving towards LA. We will be jumping onto I-5 once we start getting closer, and then that's, I think, what we run basically all the way up to our drop-off point, or I guess it's called in the industry a consignee. Right, so we must be around a city of some kind, because there's some more buildings cropping up, and there's street lights cropping up, and another lane has been added to the highway. Guess we'll back out here. Oh, yeah, I guess we're getting into Los Angeles, speaking of the devil. Which means we'll need actually this lane coming up. Of navigation. It'd be really cool on these GPS units to be able to see what our next instruction would be, you know, if we're going to turn left, turn right, so we can get in the right lane in advance, and about how far out that would be. I think that would be a cool addition to get in-game. There's probably a mod out for it somewhere, but I don't know of it. And again, it'd be nice to see that come kind of stock in the game anyway. Oh wait, hold on. I guess I don't need this lane. Be nice if that exit only sign was a little bit further back, but oh well. I think this is the next one is what I need. I-5 North. There we go. That's what I need. Get back up to speed and merge on over. Alright, now we're on I-5 all the way up to our destination, I do believe. Which is another 541 miles out. So we've got quite the run still yet to go. But we got plenty of fuel to do it along the way. But yeah, it's details like that, like, you know, that interchange, for example, that they've added, which really have just brought this game into its own. It's something, yeah, I guess you could say, it's something that's really, you know, improved the game, in term, oh, hey, look, there's traffic. It's something that's really improved the game play, for me anyway, is that there's just more detail, and now it feels like a road network a little bit more than it is just, you know, lay down some roads and lay down some generic exits and call it good. But yeah, now that we're running I-5, I feel like we're going to have the chance to see some more traffic, because it is kind of like the main artery of this game at this point in time, because you've got all the, you know, major cities of California kind of accessible through it. You know, when I was in Phoenix, there was a lot of traffic there, just because it's Phoenix. It's fairly large in the game. Like, heck, I spent all of yesterday just doing local jobs, actually driving around the day cab Kenworth that I have, that you probably haven't seen. I can't remember in relation to the release of this video, comparative to the release of the other video, how it's going to work out. But yeah. As I ramble around and around, yeah, I can't remember if that video's come out yet or not, or the start of that trucking adventure has come out or not. But I've got a day cab Kenworth that I have that I make into, like, it starts out as a one of the mid-lift Kenworths that I then turn into, I take the aero stuff off. Oh, here's that section I was talking about, the dedicated truck lane. But being that it's a pretty light load, we should probably not have as much trouble as a heavier one. But anyway, as I was saying, the Kenworth day cab that I have that has the aero package and the aerodynamics and the lift, the mid lift and all that, I converted that into a fuel hauler. So I ended up taking the aero thing off and, you know, changing the way it looked, and it looks really good. I mean, I love that truck. It's probably one of my favorites in the game at the moment, next to my W900. So that truck will probably make an appearance again, but it's going to make appearances in videos as it is already. That one I was just doing a bunch of day jobs, or a bunch of local jobs in the Phoenix area all day yesterday, which was kind of fun. Yeah, this is that mountainous pass that they added in, which is really cool because it's like you have to climb the hill and you got to drop into low gear, and you know, there's a dedicated truck lane for all that, so that way you can get out of the way of faster moving vehicles. There's a runaway truck ramp in the event that you just are losing control, which is really cool. So it's all in all, it's a great addition. It adds a lot of extra detail to the game that wasn't presently there before. Before it was, you know, it was a climb, but it wasn't a super steep climb, and it wasn't very technical in that it like winded around. Wow. This is where I would help to have that navigation help, actually. But yeah, it wound around, not quite as much as it does now, which is really cool. So good stuff indeed. So we're continuing. Got another 450 miles to go still. Can't remember how many miles we're on at the start of the trip. We're not quite halfway, just based on the time estimate that is there. So we've got quite a ways to go yet, but we are now in the heart of California, working our way north. Looks like it might be clearing again cloud-wise, so we probably won't see the rain. But I guess if it does, that'd be kind of an interesting first, I think, in this game for me. Maybe it's rained once, I can't remember, but not, you know, it hasn't, you know, rained a ton, so it's not like a Euro truck where it's actually precipitation is kind of somewhat common, especially in certain areas. Yeah, there's that red, white, and blue. It's a really cool paint scheme, honestly. It's got, you know, it's at first glance it's just a truck, but you get, you know, kind of look a little bit more. It's, you know, because it's not bright and glaring and excessive, but it's there. So it's got the American spirit there, and it's bleeding red, white, and blue, if you want to say that, because it's, you know, kind of torn up metal or whatever. So. What town are we going through here? This looks like a little bit of traffic. Bakersfield. Yeah, I guess that is a bit of a crossroads that you get down there onto 58. And they've completely changed how that exit works, which is cool. I think it used to dump directly onto 58. Now you actually have to take like a service road to get to it. That horn sounds kind of weird. Guess it's truck-ish. Like those super roars that I have, though, on my handful of my Kenworths. I think we're getting kind of close to halfway now, which is pretty cool. Still a ways to go yet, though. We are, let's see. So we're just north and west of Bakersfield. We just went past. Running our way up the I-5 corridor. way station in a mile. Oop. That's obnoxious. But I guess it makes sure that you don't miss it. Since you can be fined for missing it. So coast forward here. Alright, gross weight 55. Oop. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Guess there's a slight hill there. And trailer's off the scale, so we're good to accelerate. Yeah, I guess there it is. I was just wondering where it was, because in the Kenworths you can see it, but in this I guess it's hidden behind the GPS. What that is just a little, pre-pass, it's called. So it will signify to a driver if they are going to be required to stop at the scales as they're coming up to them. Some states require every truck stops there, but what's cool is if your company has a good enough record. This is not modeled in the game. I'm talking real world. If your company has a good enough record, safety wise, and does well with inspections and whatnot, they will oftentimes let you just bypass the weigh station, which is kind of cool. Since you can keep rolling, you don't have to stop and get your truck scaled and take time out of your day. Because oftentimes, if you've ever seen them before, there's a bit of a lineup when they're open, since they've got a lot of trucks to handle, and it takes a little while to stop a truck and hit the scale button and get the scale and do an inspection. And so it's an advantage to have that pre-pass and then to also have a really good score, so that way you don't have to stop at every single weigh station along the way. And what those weigh stations are is, not only is it they're weighing the truck to see if the truck's overweight or not, make sure they're running within their permits and within their regulations of the state, but also it's a chance for the state to do an inspection on the truck, make sure there's nothing illegal about the truck in terms of it having maybe something that's broken or out of maintenance, or anything along that line. They will pull trucks in for a weigh, not because they're curious about weighing them, but they're more interested in inspecting them. And sometimes when you see trucks pulled off on the side of the road by a cop, it's not because they did something wrong, but it's because they're doing an inspection, an on-road inspection, and they just want to make sure that the truck is up to standard. The tires are good, and lights are good, and this and that and whatever. And so that's why having a good score is nice, because oftentimes they know the company is maintaining their trucks well and making sure weights are correct, so they're not having to check up on them all the time to make sure they're doing their job correctly, because they've done it correctly in the past. If that ramble makes sense. Alright, so where we are in the world now, let's see. We just passed Huron, which, if I do recall, is where I ended up having my truck run out of gas. Spoiler if you haven't seen that episode yet, but there's an episode where I run a truck out of gas, and it's right around Huron that it happens. And then I think it's in Fresno over there to the right, or over off to the east, which is where I actually do the truck conversion, because I ran out of gas. I said, screw it, I'm already at the design place, I may as well make modifications to it. So another just over 300 miles to go, so clicking them off, that is. I think there's another fork in the freeway up ahead that we're gonna have to negotiate. I want to say we fork to the right. I guess don't quote me on that, but I think that's what happens when we get up there. It's north of Santa Cruz. See what's on the info screen. We got water temp, oil temp, speed, instant and average, fuel economy. Actually, this truck's doing not too bad on fuel economy. Granted, most of this run's been at 55 and not my usual 65. And we're towing a pretty light load, so there's that. It's cool that it's got the instant, though, on there as well. And then fuel and distance. I think I'll leave it on the fuel economy since we already know we're going to make it on this journey. Yeah, I think I just see the fork coming into view there on the GPS. We're going to be going, which I think is still I-5. Guess we'll see when we get to the signage. Maybe it's not I-5. I think I-5 keeps going. This, wonder what this transition would be. Well, I guess we'll see. I can't remember now when we looked at the map real quick. Yep, I guess it is I-5 because that's 580 that goes off there to the left. So we'll be taking the, not this exit. Man, that looks like a windy road. That might be a fun one to go down sometime. I wonder if that's mountainous. Oh, it's gotta be. Being... yeah, it's gotta be at least hilly. Alright, so we'll be taking the exit here, going past Oakland. So we're getting up in the state anyway, since we're already at the Oakland area. Stockton, Sacramento I-5 exit. That would be us. Kind of surprised that doesn't have double lanes a little bit further out, but I guess it works for this game, since traffic's never really kind of, you know, standstill-ish. Alright, so now we're going towards more so the north. I'm going to go between Oakland and Oakdale. Going up to Reading, the Eddies there, dropping off some beverages. I wouldn't think they would haul beverages this far to a store, but hey, what do I know? Maybe there's specialized beverages they want specifically from Phoenix, Arizona. It's Arizona iced tea. That's what that's what we're delivering. We're delivering Arizona iced tea. I've just decided, and it has to come from Phoenix. Apparently, it's a special delivery. I haven't been. Oh yeah, that's right. I was gonna say I haven't been down 99. That doesn't make sense, but I haven't been down 99 with the map update. That's the thing, is with the map update, it kept all the towns you discovered, but that you've seen, so you have to rediscover the map. So that's just an interesting little tidbit there, because they changed the detail of the route, or of the roads. You know, it wouldn't say where you've been as far as road wise. They've added a lot of detail. They want you to check out the detail they worked so hard on. So another reason for them to want you to you know, travel the routes again. But they didn't want to like get rid of your discovered towns in terms of you finding things and knowing where things are and being able to look them up in routes and or the freight markets and such. So there is that they at least left you the towns you'd discovered along the way. Okay, now we're headed up to Sacramento, which I believe is where there's a bit of road construction. We'll have to slow down a little bit. Ooh, thinking of road construction, that'd actually be kind of a cool thing if they would every so often, like there's, say, you know, period of time or random event, or every time they update the game or something, they change where the road construction is, just to change things up a little bit. I know that'd be kind of complicated to do, but I know that'd be kind of fun, just so that way the road construction isn't always predictably in the exact same spot. You know, or maybe they change what lane's being worked on. And I think what would be really cool is to have like a freeway that's under construction where they move it down to like one lane of traffic, or they push it over to the other lane to do kind of like one-in-one traffic. Say if they're working on a bridge or something, that'd be kind of cool. You know, more detail, but I'd rather them rather than doing that, I'd rather them have just get a state and more trucks. But you know, I'm just looking, you know, ideal, perfect world. I'd like to see that. So we're gonna get down to 40 here for the road construction. Which barely feels like road construction, since it's just a couple of cones and there's no trucks. I mean, just a couple of guys standing around basically. But oh well. I think most don't slow down for that road construction because it doesn't really impede their path. Alright, now we're on Fresh Highway, I believe. I haven't discovered this since the map update. So that'd be kind of cool actually to see what they've done up here since I've last been through. Not that I specifically remember what was here before, but you know, at least see what the other details they've brought in, because I know kind of what level of detail to look for. I don't specifically know you know, what they've changed exactly, but oh well. And I guess if nothing else, we're knocking off more of that map to discover, since my map discovery right now is pretty poor. Since the map update, I haven't been able to do a lot of trucking, and the trucking that I have done has been on a lot of roads that I've already already have previously discovered since the update. So we're just knocking out some more of that more of that. It's a gas station, way station, rest area, oasis thingy over there. Oop. I can bypass the nearest way station. Yay! So that's what I was talking about, is you can sometimes bypass the stations. And I think part of the reason is because I've weighed already in California, so I can just keep on trucking. It's interesting how the topography has changed once again. Now it's kind of a little bit flatter. I mean, there's mountains off in the distance, but it's not palm trees. It's dry scrubland and no, I guess you call it normal trees or whatever you want to call it. Just interesting how they've actually taken into account your position on the map and the topography and the vegetation that you would see. It'll be interesting to see when they get into, like I said, Oregon and such, because that's really green. Maybe that's part of the reason why they haven't done that yet, is because California, Arizona, Nevada, now New Mexico, they're all kind of got the same stuff in the southwest there. Obviously more palm trees out in California and more deserty scrub, Arizona, Nevada, but we'll see. I guess we'll see what they do next. Maybe that's the reason why they might do Texas next. Actually, is just because the west part of Texas is pretty much continuation of New Mexico. However, Texas is, like I had mentioned before, and Texas is very diverse in its topography as well, as far as, or not topography, but that's geography and I don't even know what the proper word is. The plant life, the shrubs and the ecological zones, or I don't know. I'm rambling now, but you get what I'm trying to say, is that it's got a diverse. It's going to have a diverse map texture to it just because of its expansive size. So who knows? Maybe they're working on Texas right now and just haven't told us. But I guess we'll see what comes after New Mexico. But ideally, we keep moving towards adding states. I'd like to see the pace of states being released picked up. That's for sure. I didn't realize this was going to stay 3 lanes for so long. I guess I'll get into the proper lane for trucks. Since trucks are really kind of supposed to stay in the rightmost lane unless they're passing another truck, or I suppose a slow vehicle in general. I think what's interesting is there's also a 2-lane that seems to parallel I-5 here off to the left. It's not much on it, but I guess it probably would be an interesting. You know what? I think I've run that before, going to one of the farms or something that's out there. And it is kind of an interesting little road because it's just a small little 2-lane country road, but it's at 55, so if I remember correctly. So we've got another 50 miles to go. We've almost done it. The sun is starting to set, which is kind of almost like a perfect timing as far as a story is concerned. Yeah, let's ride this last hour it says out. We've got to... Yeah, there's that road that parallels 5. Not many access points to it, but one of them is here. It's interesting that it gets rid of the lane and then redevelops the lane for the exit. You'd think you'd just turn that into an exit-only lane or something. But, oh well. That would make sense. Alright, coming up on Reading now. We're actually really close because that sign said you could get off for Reading there, or we can get off for Reading, I believe, at the next exit, which is where we'll be getting off. And then making our delivery, I would assume, fairly downtown Reading, just because of, you know, Eddie's is, in this game, is kind of like, I think, like a Walgreens or a Rite Aid or something like that. I guess Walbert's kind of like Walgreens is kind of what it's going at. I don't know what Eddie's is going to try to be, but some, you know, some convenience-y store type of thing, something you'd see in a city center. So, yeah. Yep, there it is now pinging on the map off in the distance. And we're pulling into Reading. Now this is kind of like that example I was talking about. Reading is shown as discovered, but none of the roads around Reading are discovered anymore, just because of the, you know, the map update. It's a nice looking Pete with that tanker there. I think I spooked him a little bit, and to be fair, I thought I was going to go a little wide there too. I haven't quite figured out the steering rack on the Pete. It's slower than the Kenworths I've been driving, but who knows? Maybe it's just the controls update that I did. But we'll turn off here into Eddie's for their evening delivery. Which kind of works out nicely, actually, that they are getting their delivery. It looks like a grocery store, actually. They're getting their delivery in the evening for evening stocking crew to take care of, I suppose. Now, I haven't backed a pup in so long. This might turn into a disaster quickly. You really have to chase these because they'll so straighten this guy out. Probably had enough room back here just with the pup to actually have turned it around in the delivery area, but oh well. Oop. Up on the curb, it won't hurt anybody. Alright, I just gotta kind of walk it on over. Going to straighten myself up just a little bit here. And that should do it. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're a veteran, thank you so much for your service. Thank you so much for everything you've done for this country. But until next time, guys, take it easy and peace.